Welcome students. Today we are going to start a new chapter, Force and Friction. Students, I have divided this video into two parts. In first part we will be discussing about force and in second part we will discuss friction. So let's start this chapter by discussing force, the effects produced by force and the various types of force. So let's start with the first topic, that is force. Or what is force? What is the definition of force? A push or pull which can change the state of rest or motion, speed or direction of the body is known as force. For example, a force is used when we kick a football or pulling the rope during the game tug of war. Forces are used in our everyday actions like pushing, pulling, pressing, etc. Force cannot be seen. It can only be judged by the effects it can produce in various objects around us. So let's move to our next topic, that is effect of force. There are various types of effects of force. A force can move a stationary object. Here you can see a man who makes a stationary car to move. Second, force can stop a moving object. Here the goalkeeper applies a force to the moving football with his hands. Third, force can change the speed of moving object. Fourth, force change the direction of moving object. Here a boy applies force to change the direction. And last, force can change the shape of an object. We can change the shape of this container by applying a force while squeezing it. Now our next topic is types of forces. There are variety of forces present around us. All the forces can be broadly categorized into contact and non-contact forces. Contact forces are of two types, muscular force and frictional force, whereas non-contact forces are of three types, magnetic, electrostatic and gravitational force. First of all, we will discuss contact force and its types. What is contact force, or what do you mean by contact force? The force which can be applied only when it is in direct or indirect contact with an object. Here in first picture you can see elephant pulling a log of wood with the help of rope. It is an indirect contact force. And in second picture you can see a man holding handbags, which is direct contact force. Now types of contact force. First, muscular force, the force exerted by muscles of the body. The force exerted by the muscles of the body is known as muscular force. We apply muscles for walking, running, kicking, lifting the things, etc. Muscular force can be applied on an object when our body is in contact with the object. Next, frictional force. Force which always opposes the motion of one body over another body is called frictional force. It always acts on all the moving objects. Its direction is always opposite to the direction of motion, as you can see in the given picture. Frictional force is also known as friction or force of friction. Now we will discuss non-contact forces and its types. A force which can be exerted by an object on another object, even from a distance or without touching each other, is known as non-contact force. There are three types of non-contact force: gravitational, electrostatic and magnetic. Now we will study these three one by one. First, magnetic force. The force exerted by magnet is known as magnetic force. This force acts even from a distance. Magnet exert magnetic force on objects made of iron, steel, nickel and cobalt. Next is electrostatic force. Force exerted by electrically charged object is known as electrostatic force. For example, a plastic comb which is electrically charged, by rubbing it in dry hair exert electrostatic force on tiny pieces of paper and attract them. Third is gravitational force. Earth attracts each and everything towards itself. This property of Earth is known as gravity, and the force with which the Earth attracts other objects toward itself is called gravitational force. The gravitational force of Earth acts on object from a distance. Therefore, it is an example of non-contact force.